This is Hello Healthy, a Dignity Health podcast. Here's Bill Klaproth.
So it's time to have a discussion about heart attacks in women. Listen, I know you don't think this could happen to you, but cardiovascular disease is the number one killer of women, causing 1 in 3 deaths each year. That's approximately 1 woman every minute. So we're not here to alarm you, but this is something you should know about, as it did happen to our guest today, Leslie Minnie. She is a heart attack survivor and is going to share her story. Leslie, thank you so much for your time and for talking with us today. So could you give us a little bit of background on yourself, your age, your occupation, and what you were feeling at the time? Tell us your story.
Sure. I'm 48 years old. I've been a teacher for 17 years. And prior to the heart attack, I was very, very active, in shape, went hiking every weekend, worked out almost every day, felt pretty great.
So you're feeling good, you're active, you're healthy. What did you start to feel? Can you share with us the signs and symptoms that you were experiencing?
Sure. I have to take you back to kind of the beginning of the day there, because I started out going to the heart walk with my husband that day.
So you went to a heart walk.
Yeah.
That's a little ironic, but okay, this is good.
Right. So I actually have a great picture of us in heart walk shirts. But anyhow, we decided we went to the heart walk, and then after we were going to go up hiking. So we went hiking on a new trail. It was up at 7,000 feet elevation. And as I'm going up, I'm having trouble breathing. I'm having this horrible tightness in my chest, and my back starts hurting. And I'm thinking, I'm getting sick. It's a new trail. It's elevation. I wasn't really sure.
Right.
So I stopped, and the heart attack was never even in the question at that point. So I asked my husband, I go, this isn't right. Maybe I'm just getting sick. And he's like, and we knew the signs and symptoms, and still didn't think that's what was going on.
So you're walking up the trail. So you're having shortness of breath, tight feeling in your chest, and you said your back started to hurt, your upper back?
Correct. My upper back. And see, when we were hiking, I carry a backpack. So, there's another excuse. I was like, oh, it's fine. It's just my backpack. It's heavy. I can't breathe because it's, there's not a lot of air, that kind of thing. So yeah, it didn't seem crazy out of normal.
Okay. So did you finish the hike and then head back down then?
Yeah, I went all the way to the top, and then we went down, and then that night we camped. And I didn't sleep very well. I felt kind of, and I thought, man, I'm just getting sick. I don't know. So then we went home, and fast forward 3 days, I was okay.
So 3 days after this, you felt okay then?
Yeah, I was just a little run down. I thought, it's just, I'm tired.
So you went to work and you thought, okay, I'm just going to tough it out. I'm just caught a bug or something, but I'm feeling a little better, so I'm just going to keep going.
Exactly. Yeah, I went to work, but I didn't go to the gym on those 2 days, those first 2 days. So on the third day, I went back to the gym and went to work out after work, and I got on the elliptical, and within 2 minutes, I was like, oh my gosh, there's that chest pain again. I was like, what is
Wow.
what's wrong? I didn't know. So I got off, and I have an Apple Watch, and I did the little ECG feature,
Yeah.
and I got 3 that said that they were inconclusive. And I was like, oh, that's weird, And then I get a message that says, maybe you should seek medical attention. And even at that point, I was still, no, there's no way, I'm like, this is just crazy. What's going on,
Yeah.
So I called my husband, and he's like, well, that's kind of weird. Why don't you take an aspirin? So I went home. I left the gym and went home, drove, no problem. Took an aspirin, and then, within maybe a few hours was starting to get horrible indigestion, just not feeling right, couldn't lay down, couldn't go to sleep, had a horrible backache, just that same stuff going on. I was like, man, I don't know what the heck is going on. So I went downstairs and was trying to walk it out. I don't know how else to explain that, but you kind of stretch and,
Sure.
When you don't feel good. And I had a really sharp pain go down my left arm. And that's when I knew. I
Oh,
was like, I need to go to the hospital. So yeah, I got there very, very quickly
okay.
and they took great care of me.
What did you have? What happened? Did they go, "Oh my God, you're having a heart attack"? What happened to you?
They do, when you go in and you tell, that you have chest pain, obviously they go through that whole protocol of, checking for that. But honestly, they were like, well, it doesn't, your ECG's normal, your breathing's fine right now. Are you having pain? I'm like, no. So I'm thinking, man, I wasted everyone's time, I'm feeling bad. I'm like, ooh, and then they take a blood test. And the doctor comes in and he goes, whoa, he goes, your levels are way elevated. Something's off. And I was like, okay, I'm not crazy,
Right.
And so then a cardiologist came and talked to me, and he didn't even think they were going to find anything. He was like, oh, you probably just have this broken heart syndrome. I was like, okay. He goes, it's just caused by stress, I'm like, all right.
So you were exhibiting these symptoms, but most of the tests were coming back normal.
It was, yeah, I mean, it was really weird. It was like mostly with exertion that it was happening. So now once I was calm, then it wasn't showing signs. So decided to do an angiogram. So that's where you lay there and you're awake, so you can hear what they're saying. And they get all ready, and he's like, oh, this will just take a second. You're probably fine. I'm not going to find anything. And I hear him go, oh my God. And I'm like, that's not what you want to hear, I'm like, what? And he's like, okay, you have a really severe blockage and, we'll fix it. We'll put a stent in and, you should be okay. And so when I got out, yeah, when I got out, he had a picture of it. It was 99% blocked in my right coronary artery.
Leslie, holy cow, 99% blocked?
Yeah, I mean, it was bad. It was one of the worst ones he had seen in a while. And I was like, wow. And he goes, and you went hiking? I'm like, yeah, I went hiking. I mean, I explained all my symptoms away. I didn't, I just thought that can't be it. I'm just sick. That's just crazy.
So they placed a stent in that blocked artery, and did you feel better right away?
I did actually. I came out of surgery and I was like, man, I already feel better. I was like, this is great.
Wow, what a story. So, Leslie, does heart disease run in your family?
My mom did have heart problems, but what you have to understand is she was very, very overweight. She was diabetic. I mean, everything that you could imagine, that what could be wrong was wrong. And so I just like said, it's her lifestyle choices. We never had a discussion about it. So I didn't know.
So, I guess one of the lessons here is really understand your family history. You really need to know that. So, how are you feeling now?
I'm feeling a lot better. I'm just taking it day by day. I'm not back to the hiking and that yet, but I really want to get there. So I've been working little by little towards it. But yeah, I mean, I haven't had any of the other symptoms that I had before.
So, what changes have you made to your life since then?
And see, that's what was really difficult is because we were already eating really clean and working out. I was like, well, what else do I do? It's
What can you
genetic.
do? I mean, for goodness
Right.
sake, right?
Right. So really what has helped more than anything was going to cardiac rehab.
Oh, so tell us more about cardiac rehab.
Yeah, they were supportive. And I'm still going. I'm about halfway through at this point. But, I was scared to go back to things, and they kind of take that out of you because you're monitored and they make sure that everything's fine and that you're breathing fine, you're working to the right capacity, and they're supporting you the whole time.
That type of support is really important. So you said earlier that you ate clean, you were watching your diet, obviously you were active and exercising. So what other suggestions did they have for you?
Well, it was funny. They sat me down and they actually said that. They're like, well, most people, we talk about diet, we talk about exercise, what is it maybe that, we could help you with? And I said, well, managing stress is a big one for me. So they, went through and gave me some tips. They talked to me. They, made some suggestions. It was just really great. So that's helped a lot too.
And I think another lesson here is if you're exhibiting these types of symptoms and you just don't know what it is, better to go to the emergency room sooner than later or seek medical attention. Isn't that right? Because you had this delay of feeling the symptoms and then 3 days later you went to the emergency room. Talk to us about the importance of seeking medical attention right away.
Absolutely. The original time when I was up on the mountain, there wasn't anywhere to go. So that's a little scary. But, when I got home, I probably should have gone right then. And definitely when I was at the gym, I probably should have called 911 at that point. The faster you get there, the better off you are. I didn't have any significant heart damage, luckily, but the longer you wait, the worse it is.
So Leslie, thank you so much for sharing your story. Last question. So you were watching your diet, you were active, you were getting routine health checks, still you had a heart attack. So through your story, what do you want the public to know about this?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I was getting routine health checks, but I didn't have those, normal symptoms of high cholesterol and things, but I needed to have a discussion with my family, and I didn't ever have that. So, knowing your family history is super important. And then knowing, just paying attention to your body. If something's off, don't be afraid to say something.
So remember that lesson from a heart attack survivor. Leslie, thank you so much for sharing your story. We're so happy that it turned out to be a good story at the end, because certainly with 99% blockage, it certainly could have gone the other way. But we're so happy that it didn't, and the people at Dignity were able to help you. Leslie, thank you again for sharing your story. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I hope that it helps, women to go out and check and listen to their bodies.
That's Leslie Minnie, and we thank her for sharing her story. And for more information on women and heart attack, please visit dignityhealth.org/Bakersfield/heart. That's dignityhealth.org/Bakersfield/heart. And if you like what you've heard today, please share it on your social channels and be sure to check out the full podcast library for topics of interest to you. This is Hello Healthy, a Dignity Health podcast. I'm Bill Klaproth. Thanks for listening.